And welcome. Wait, does it say live stream? Nah, never mind. My mistake. And welcome live after the cover save episode 352. I am RoboEd, and with me, as always, are.
Hey guys, I'm Blake.
Hey, I forgot my name. I'm sorry.
It's Travis.
Travis. You see, for a long time, I worked at a company where there was already a Travis, so I had to change my name to Elliot.
Yeah, it's a good name, Elliot.
I remember those days.
It's my middle name. Elliot.
Yep, Elliot Penner. That's right.
Good old Elliot Penner, baby.
It's funny.
Elliot Procephus.
I'm going to tell you, when I was in elementary school, I hung out with a kid named Elliot Penner.
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't go to the same high school as me and Blake. But later on in the future, I found out that Blake also knew Elliot Penner.
Mm-hmm.
So it's weird. We knew the same person.
You're Eskimo brothers, dude.
We're Eskimo friends. His mom worked at the community college as she was one of the secretaries for the athletic department.
Oh, got it.
Gloria.
Oh, Gloria Penner. Nice.
Good family.
Gloria.
All right.
Gloria.
In this episode, we're going to do something a little different.
What are we
We're not going to be doing hobby commitment talk, I don't think, because this is
no time.
Well, hopefully. Let me see. We want to have a conversation about some of the games that we've played.
Mm-hmm.
A necessary conversation.
A very necessary conversation. Because Blake, myself, and Travis have all played with a painted Tomb King's army. And we're going to be talking about our old world, I guess. So, hope you guys are ready.
So, does that mean we did the challenge?
Yes. The challenge has been met.
We get to keep the army, suckers.
You thought the whole time you were going to get an army for free. Dummies.
It's our army now.
Well, you know what? It did. Well, let's start at the beginning.
Start at the beginning, Blake. Bring us in.
What? Okay, so first off, what did you buy? When did you buy it? Did you guys hear that super loud exhaust?
Yep.
Man.
No?
What did you buy? When did you buy it? And what's the promise? What's the promise you made?
All right. So sometime last year, I don't remember exactly when I bought it, but I revealed it to you and Blake and Travis and all the listeners in May that I had bought a Tomb Kings of Cavalry Special Edition. What was it called? Cavalry Edition?
The Cavalry Edition. Tomb King. Old World Tomb Kings Cavalry Edition.
I bought that box set for a pretty good price. And I decided to make a challenge for myself and actually for Blake and Travis. I was going to... Originally, I thought we were all going to build and paint. And
paint job.
Blake built some horses. Travis built some archers. And then I built the rest.
You did everything else yourself.
There were 96 models that needed to be built and painted, and I built, paint, based them all. I came up with a sand base.
Yes,
sand base turned out really good, really nice.
I think it turned out pretty good.
Let's just be real. All of it looks great.
Yeah. But my initial thought was this is going to be easy. And then I waited till maybe February of this year, and I was like, "Oh, I really have to start working on these things," and because or else we're going to be giving away a half-painted army. I guess at some point I could have just quit, been like, "Fine, just said somebody's going to get this Tomb Kings box that's partially built." Because I think Blake and Travis built stuff a long time ago, shortly after I announced that we were going to do that, and then we kind of just sat there for
I
a
mean,
long time.
Not to bring up old stuff,
Go ahead.
but I still think the idea of a paint jam is a great idea. Now, Travis lives further out. He's a little bit further away from us. So he's always said if he's going to come up, it's going to be to play some games. It's going to be for not a paint jam because he paints,
all day long.
Yeah, he paints regularly.
Yeah.
Now he does it alone as a solitary thing, like a weirdo in his cave.
It's my time.
But I still think a paint jam would be a fantastic thing to do.
And also, I have like 300 paints I'd have to carry.
Well, not if there's the project we're working on. Like
I have like 300 paints, like at least 20 paintbrushes.
Well, the 20 paintbrushes, yes. But in this case, the paints would be Ed had a plan. So we would use those.
Oh, we would just use Ed's paints. I see what
like I think you'd have to do a paint jam. Hey, we're in the paint jam segue, guys.
It needs to be a paint weekend where there is gaming happening as well. Then I'm in.
Yeah. And also it's like, what is the purpose of the paint jam?
Yeah.
Plan it out. That way we don't have to bring 300 pots of paint. If we know what we're going to do, if we have an idea, then we can like plan it together,
If we're only dry brushing, Travis, you only need to bring your dry brushes and that's it.
I guess.
But I do get the point. I do get the point that Travis is making. He can paint every day. He can't.
I painted a dragon today.
He did.
That's true.
It looks great.
That's true.
But he can't play games with us every day.
I just want to point out something, and it's a little bit behind the curtain. Travis's upload is only 57%. So
something's wrong.
We might be. I mean, Travis might be in for a long night, or he just leave his computer on when we're done recording. I just want to make that announcement.
So if you're hearing this, everything worked out fine.
Yeah.
If you're not hearing this, looks like, dude, it looks like I would maybe get a new router because a new router fixed it for me.
But listen, my router's very expensive. I'm not getting a new router.
Yeah.
And the router is fantastic. There's something wrong with this website.
Well, as soon as I changed my router, it fixed for me.
Well, because that was your problem, dude.
Yeah. You're right.
Listen,
it makes sense.
I have an $800 router. I'm not going to replace that.
It makes sense. It does make sense that you and I shared the same problem in the same website, and the solution that I had wouldn't work for you. That being said, you could always test it out, like try a different router and see.
No.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Hey, that was router talk. Thanks,
hey, that was router talk. $800 router talk.
Man. All right.
It's a mesh system.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a mesh.
System, sure.
Well, I'm hardwired into it though.
Oh, ooh, even different.
Did I tried hardlining my modem straight into my computer and it didn't work.
This has been hardline
I'll
talk.
figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'm not going to figure it out right now, but I'll figure it out.
I think we should dedicate the next segment and the life after segment to buying routers. Let's go share a screen. All right, go at it, Ed. I'm sorry. So Paint Jam didn't happen. It's okay.
Paint Jam didn't happen, and I knew that I had to get these models done as quick as possible, or I would have just given away $200. And that's against my morals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
To
had
give
like
away
three.
some.
You had like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, yeah. So I cranked it out. I finished it basically before Adepticon.
Whew.
So they were done. I don't remember when we played. We played in March, right, Blake? It was before
Um,
Adepticon.
we played.
Before Adepticon. Because I remember we had a discussion about the shop with
Yes,
SC Josh
yes.
at Adepticon.
We
So
yeah
it
we
had
we
already happened.
we played like a couple weeks before Adepticon.
Yeah. So it was a lot. It was basically what you call batch painting, but I had primed so many models that I could wash. I washed like 20 or 30 at a time, and so when it came time, like I did stages. So let's say I did a bunch of dry brushing, and I had a bunch of models that were dry brushing. If I was working on a red paint, and I could just keep going with that red paint
Yeah,
all the way through until I got tired and done, and then I just put it away. And I'm like, all right, well, I got 1.5 units of the red done. Let me go to the blue, and then I do so I could finish a unit and then get another unit partially painted or mostly painted in some cases.
yeah.
So super
Did you use
batch,
the skeleton horde?
yeah, yeah. It was their bone primer, skeleton horde wash with a another bone dry brush on top.
Ush, ubashti.
Um, I did some of the GW, but I also did some of game color, Vallejo bone color, on some of them too.
Belejo
And then
bone.
a lot of it was a speed paint blue, and a speed paint red.
I thought you airbrushed with the blue.
So the blues I did do
On the
an airbrush
shields,
with
though.
on the shields only. Yeah, yeah, but for like their head or their flowing things, or some of the cloths were just that. I don't even remember the name of the blue,
Great
but
looking army.
It
yes,
looked fantastic on the table.
I think they are good
Something's
looking.
wrong with the dragon, though.
Yeah,
We'll get to that.
yeah, we'll talk about the dragon. He had some problems with the dragon. So, all right, my first question, and you guys could take turns here. How do you two feel about old world
Okay.
as a broad thing?
Now, okay. Um, it's not the best rules. It's not the best rule set. There's a lot of moving pieces in there. There's a lot of like, well, in this case, yes, but others, this, and that. Oh, don't forget in the sub paragraph here, it says what you do here. A lot of times I would get in situations and I'm like, okay, well, now what? Like, what happens next? You know, it's a huge rule book.
I don't think it's. I disagree with you that it's it's not a bad rule set. It's a complicated rule set, and we've only played it a handful of times.
It's definitely complicated.
It's very complicated.
I like the updates that they've made. Like they made in my mind 2 definitive updates that made the system better. It's also an old rule set, old world, right? There's not too much there's nothing really too much cutting edge or exciting. You compare it to like Crisis Protocol. Crisis Protocol is a very more modern and kinetic rule set. The rule they changed with you get initiative bumps for every 3 inches you charge. Fantastic rule change. And the way they did the break tests, that system is a little bit different in terms of if you exceed the number, one thing happens. If you tie the number, but your modifiers take it over, another thing happens. So it was like 3 different cases of the break test. When before it was just like either you break or you don't break. It was two outcomes. The new version has 3 different outcomes. So
Is it my turn?
Travis? Yeah.
Playing Old World again, I got more excited about it. Really, it's like I wish I could play it more so that I could understand the rule set more, because it is a very complicated rule set that takes like I've played it I think 10 times now, and I think I'm just now starting to kind of understand it.
yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to begin the process to be like, okay, I get it. It's also
But
nostalgic.
here's the thing. I didn't play the last 3 old world rule sets. So I'm not, unlike 40K, I'm building upon where I've played every edition of 40K. At least a little bit. But this one, it's like it's wildly different than the edition that I played back in the day in many ways. And so it's and I didn't even play it that often back then. I still played 40K more often back then. So I just I wish I could play it more.
You
to tell you the
will.
truth.
I mean, this summer we're having a big bash.
We have another big bash this summer, and I'm actually really excited for that big bash.
Now, definitely the nostalgia hits me pretty hard on it. All those magic items are basically the magic items that I was playing in like 3rd and 4th edition fantasy. You know, the Ruby Ring of Ruin, fire. Like all these things I remember. Chaos Rune Sword, like all of the stuff. I remember building these lists when I was a teenager. Granted, I never really got to play very much, right? So the nostalgia hit is pretty good on it, and that does keep me invested. And I have so much stuff from that era as well, so I don't really need to buy anything, which is kind of nice.
I still do, though.
Well, that's
Amen.
a different topic.
Amen.
I'm hoping that this big battle we're doing this summer inspires me, because I have a lot I could do with my vampire counts. I hope it kind of makes me want to add some more units in that I have just sitting on my hobby shelf right now.
Yeah,
I hope so too, Travis. I hope so too.
What do you think, Ed?
I feel kind of in the same boat as you, Blake, maybe even Travis. When I think about when I first got in the hobby, it was fantasy, really, and building the models, trying to paint them, and not really getting much playtime in, but really making lists and thinking about magic items. And it'd be cool if I can buy this model. Now I can buy the models. When I was a kid, it's like, well, I'm probably not going to ask my parents for money for this because it's going to be too much. But playing on the table, even watching you guys, you two play, was entertaining for me. Just seeing 2 painted armies that look good going up against each other. Because
I'll have to say that Tomb King army is actually really fun to play too.
Well,
we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Maybe for you,
we'll get there. Seeing also, because the nostalgia part, it's actually, this is what I would envision 2 fully painted armies playing against each other, but it wasn't what would happen when I actually did play, because we were kids, so the stuff wasn't painted very well or not at all sometimes. So I'm getting more out of it now than I did as a kid in some ways. And I think there's more rules, which kind of makes it harder, but I agree with Travis. If you get the reps in, then you don't really have to think about the rules as much. It's about
Well,
getting the reps in.
it's. I mean, we know the basic loop: weapon skill to weapon skill, number, boom, strength to toughness, boom. They did shift numbers around, which is a little weird. Sometimes I'm like, okay, that's going to be a 2+, and then I'm like, oh no, that's a 3+, and I'm like, that used to be a 2+. So some of the number shifts are a little weird, but they must have a reason why. I just don't know what it is. So the core loop all makes sense to us, but it's the finer details, like what is a fighting rank? A fighting rank is not the person in is not the person in base-to-base contact. That's just the whole rank of people who's in the front line of that unit in combat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like differentiations and like little pieces that, yeah, you have to pick them up in time. And that's where I feel overwhelmed or the complication comes in. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well, I was going to bring up something specifically on the game. I'm just going to bring it up. You know, when those Chaos Warriors broke when they got fled through, since they were above 50% strength, they should have fell back in good order, which means that they do fall back, but then they end up facing the right direction and immediately rally.
Okay, so this is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like there's a giant rule book, and the only way you're going to know that is if you literally read every single line multiple times. Because I kept on reading and reading and reading, and some of them it's like I don't see where it says it, and then they're like, oh, on the next page it'll say blah 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 blah, and you're like, oh, okay. But that stuff will come with just playing people who are experienced and doing enough reps. And eventually you won't even eventually it'll just be like it's the same thing as rolling force to hit and force to wound. You'll just know the situation and play it that way.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Well, I'm glad you found that out. That made me feel better.
All right. Next question. What was it like playing the game with Tomb Kings?
So I'll start. Well, Ed starts. Ed, you start, Ed, because here's the deal. We all had to play it, but when me and you played, you were playing the actual Tomb Kings box contents.
Correct.
I played with a couple other things, and then the army that Travis played was very different than all of us.
I built it myself.
Yeah, but he was using core elements from the box.
Oh yeah. So I built and painted the set, so I wanted to play that set first. And so Blake made a 1250 list, and I just ran what was in the pamphlet that came in the box, straight up. It was different because it's undead. The guys, a lot of the core units are weak, but I guess that could be said for a lot of armies. Some of their core units are the weaker ones. But and it was a lot of it was based on resurrecting people, which is good. And we learned some things about trying to keep your guy. He had because his and I actually learned things after in Travis's game. His command range is actually further than what I thought it was when we and Blake were playing. So I was trying to command doing my
yeah, it's 18 inches when you're
yeah.
up on a monster.
Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah, so he can resurrect units, and I was doing those things. I thought it was fun because I would get hit by Blake and I'd be like, wow, he killed a lot of guys pretty easily with that one thing. And then I would be able to bring a good chunk of them back. I had a unit that was almost completely gone, and then I was able to bring it back almost full force, which is kind of cool. I like the bows, how they always hit on a 5+ no matter what.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Kind of reminds me of like orcs in a way because you're
kind of great bows, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
surprisingly good.
Especially when you have in an 18-foot bubble, you have your caster re-rolling ones on
Yeah.
your hits.
That's
So
really
you're
powerful.
literally, that's a 50-50. Well, not I don't know. Do the math.
It is kind of.
Well,
Yeah, it's closer to 50-50.
it's a 50-50 chance that there's going to be a positive result.
Yeah.
One of the positive results being a reroll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know. You can
Exactly.
run the math on that.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. 1s, 5s, and 6s are positive. Yeah. So that's huge. That
It's
means you can
huge.
move
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter. That's
Doesn't
what
matter
makes
what
those
you do.
chariots really good too.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
makes
true.
those horse archers really good.
Yeah, all those things very cool. I liked it, and I even bought more stuff to field into. No. You've seen all the stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But I bought more stuff, and I built more stuff so that when Travis played and Blake played, they all had slightly different armies, and it gave me a chance to kind of see what they could do, if it's worth taking or not, kind of guinea pigs, if you will. But overall, I liked it. I really liked. I mean, part of it for me is just seeing them all painted
Yeah.
and having something that I've done represented on the table. People are like, "Oh, those look nice." I'm like, "Cool, thanks."
Yeah.
So that brings more enjoyment because it's a completed thing that I've done. But Blake played next against Joctor John.
Dr. John. Dr. Don. Dr. Don. Dr. Don is someone that we know. I'm undefeated versus him in a Song of Fire and Ice Game of Thrones game. Let that be known.
But not in Old World.
No, sir. So I basically had everything from the box, from the pamphlet, plus 3 tomb scorpions. He was playing dwarves, and I don't know much about dwarves. Who knows? And I figured out a couple things real quick about dwarves. Everybody's toughness 4, which is really good.
Really good.
The cannons. Oh man, I think cannons seem fun
Oh yeah,
because it bounces around and stuff,
yeah,
and like you put a marker on your target, but it's always gonna, and then you roll the scatter die. So you put it like in front of the unit, maybe like
yeah,
6 inches in front of the unit,
yeah,
because there's like a 1 in 6 chance that it'll just hit the ground,
yeah.
but it could roll 2, 4, 6, and 8 inches, and that's where it bounces and goes through. And so every single unit or model that it bounces through, you do a bunch of damage to.
Nice.
So that was kind of a neat mechanic. He was able to fire it a couple times at me. Then he had an organ gun, which was just multi shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it was neat for me to see how like the cavalry, like your horse archers could basically set up anywhere. They got like infiltrate basically,
Right.
which is really neat. And then your archers and your chariots, I do believe, have a vanguard move. So they're able to get a free move before everybody starts.
Right.
And so the mobility, and they all shoot. So the mobility of the cavalry is really neat. The chariots hit pretty hard as well. But here's the problem. With Undead, they take, what are they called? It's not unstable rules.
They're unbreakable.
They're unbreakable, which means they take extra wounds for how much they lose combat by.
Yes, correct.
So I ended up getting my dragon a little out of place, and he was able to make this insane, like 16-inch charge with dwarves being movement 4, because the unit was so big that the move it takes, if you add the roll plus the move it takes to close the door, the furthest guy out in the unit is like moving super, super far, way beyond his normal stat.
exactly. But it was essentially a 9-inch charge, right?
Yes,
Because that's the maximum charge.
Yeah, it was a 9,
dwarf.
but the wheel to close the gate is so big. That's what 9, 10, 11, 12. That was like, yeah, 12-inch charge, 14-inch charge. He even mentioned it in the text.
Yeah.
And so basically, I did 1 wound to him, and he ended up doing 2 wounds to me. But I lost combat by 7.
Did you do your stomp attacks too?
Yeah, no, I did everything. Did the guy on top? I did. Yeah, it just
Wow.
was a rough. So what happened was he had like a rank bonus of 4.
That's a huge unit.
Yeah, it was a massive unit. His unit
It was like a 5 ranked unit.
at least 4. At least 4 ranks. So okay, let's say it was 3.
Yeah, that sounds.
Let's say it was 3.
Well, because do the dwarves have the horde? Because they need horde to get a. Because the maximum rank bonus is 2.
No,
right?
No.
I think it's a lower number than 4.
It maybe 3. Let's do this. And by the way, the unit he charged me with was a pack of Longbeards, which are like.
Were they heavy infantry or just infantry?
I'm about to look it right now.
Yeah, look it up. Because I think you got cheated.
I think you got played, dude.
Well, it didn't matter because it still adds up to more. We're gonna go new list.
Yeah, dude. The
New Empire
list,
of Man. Dwarves. Dwarf holds. Create list. Core units. Longbeards. Now Longbeards are 12 points a model. So they're pretty
expensive.
They're heavy, they're heavy duty. And basically they can only they're a rare unit.
So regular infantry the maximum rank bonus is 2.
Okay. So maybe
if they're heavy,
they get
the maximum rank bonus is 2.
2.
Were they on foot?
Yes.
Yeah, they were on foot.
You got played, dude. Their rank bonus should have been 2.
Well, listen.
My god. You got played, bro.
Now, if you have horde, you can increase that to 3.
Okay,
yeah.
So
dwarves don't got horde.
So okay, so let's run the numbers. He got 2 in his rank bonus.
Okay.
But maybe 3. That could have been me just counting it and not knowing the rules. So let's just say he had 2. Then he's in my flank, which is a 1. He has a battle standard, which is 1.
Okay.
And he ends up doing 2 wounds to me, which is 6.
Okay.
Right?
So he only beat you by 5 though, because you did 1 to him.
So in my original math, he did my total was 7. And then my Indomitable cut the wounds down of the whatever.
I still think you guys did the math of that really wrong.
Well, yeah, but still, let's look at it this way. I'd have 1 wound left. So he said he did 6 to me.
I think you'd have 3 wounds left, dude.
Okay, so we got 2 rank. We got the battle standard. Oh, he had like a.
Did he have 2 standard?
No,
did he have his army standard?
Yeah.
And he had the
unit standard. Yeah. Because it was something like
2 points there.
A rune of grudge or some shit. Then I think he had something like hatred.
You guys are both.
Hate helped his guys do damage, and then like 2 wounds. So maybe that's 6, and then a flank, and that could still be 7. It doesn't matter. Even if it was 6, that's still 4 wounds. I would have 1 wound left. But the bottom line is, I just got smashed by that unit.
So
he only did 2 wounds to me, yet I lost 6 wounds.
So my question is, how did he get in your flank?
Dude, and it was just like, because the majority of his unit was in my flank rank, in my flank arc.
Yeah. And you moved up the dragon and you left everybody behind.
It was minuscule. It was like
not from the picture that I saw.
Okay, well, never mind.
He was out at least his base.
But the thing is, that only counted for 1 point.
No, but the fact that you got charged because you were out too far.
But you probably lost all those wounds because he was rolling so much more dice against you.
Because
he had 2 units attacking.
No. He had
instead
1
of
unit.
just one.
Yeah.
It was the
So
Longbeards.
it was just one unit.
It was the
and they got a
Longbeards.
flank charge on
It
you.
was the Longbeards with the Dwarven King.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, that's like 400 points.
No, that
right
was
there,
more.
dude.
It was like 200. Either way, it was a lot more points than what I had.
Yeah,
I just expected the dragon to hold up better than that.
So he's his full. He's his in this picture that I have here.
Yeah.
His dragon is completely away from the.
It's
unit.
about 12 inches away from the rest of your army.
12, but he's a full base. He's a full base away, and he got you.
Gotta keep that. Gotta keep the weak stuff in front of the dragon.
Well, I mean, definitely, that was a mistake, but he could have charged it from the front, and he would have had 1 less point to the resolution.
Oh,
all flank does is give you 1 resolution point.
Yeah. I'm
in the end, I still would have got my fucking ass kicked.
I don't know about that.
It's literally 1 point difference.
No. I'm not. I'm saying if you didn't put him out there to get charged,
he wouldn't have gotten charged.
He wouldn't have gotten charged at all. He would have missed the charge, and then you could have blasted.
But that is a wild charge that he got off.
Yeah, and plus that was a huge charge.
He had to get a 6. Yeah. He had to get a 6.
But yes, it didn't matter because I got charged one way or the other.
Yeah.
Then once he smoked me, I charged him from the rear and the front with the 2 skeleton spearman units. Didn't do shit.
Well, so even with all your bonuses, didn't do nothing.
No,
he outbonused you somehow
because he had his leadership 9.
Yeah, skeletons can't kill dwarfs.
I mean, I did damage to him, but when he made his break test, his leadership's 9.
Yeah.
What about the fear checks? Because then
hatred. His
hatred makes him immune to psychology.
So.
See, this is the problem with undead in this game. Their whole thing is built around fear and terror, and every single unit in this game is immune to psychology somehow.
And of course,
and what's up with them having hatred against skeletons? Their hatred is against orcs and goblins.
Well, that's hatred, but he has something ancestral grudge.
I could even see hatred against elves.
A model with a special rule has hatred enemy characters. So if this character were to join a Longbeards or Hammer unit, then it also gains a special rule.
Hatred enemy characters? They hate everybody.
So yeah, that's the king. That's the king though. So he gives that to him. But the thing is, there's always some way to get out of this undead thing. And you know what?
If they lose something, don't they lose hatred?
Actually, hatred has nothing to do against fear. The bottom line is, when it comes to this fear, I never remembered to make people make those checks. Okay. So that's one thing.
It's important. I mean, because you're talking about how the leadership, but like if they fail their fear check, like I forget, it messes with their leadership and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, that's enough.
And then those scorpions, they just bounced off everything. They didn't. I had one chance to do a killing blow on his grudge priest or whatever, but the rolls didn't happen. But they have a special ambush rule, so I think they might be able to do something else that's really cool that we just haven't done yet. Either way, I got crushed, and I even bought a scroll of dispel
against dwarves.
Okay, Travis, what was it like playing the Tomb Kings?
So I found it very enjoyable because they are very similar to the vampire counts, but they have some very unique differences that makes them interesting. But I was able to use a lot of what I've learned playing vampire counts, I think, to play them rather effectively. But having archers was like Oh, I loved it. And having artillery, I took the screaming skull catapult, I think it's called.
Yeah.
That thing was great. I mean, it only hit once that whole game, but when it did hit, like it killed like 5 guys. That was pretty good.
And that was
I liked
actually, it
it.
killed 1 guy. Or 2 guys. But I got yelled at, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Because I didn't.
So that was true. I thought you were doing a bit with Josh. I really did yell at Blake.
I always thought, and the whole
got
time I'm
frustrated.
arguing in my head that one more of my guys should be dead.
Yeah.
And you guys are like, no.
Because we did it right.
Yeah.
And the
You
thing
just kept
is,
making your armor saves, dude.
Yeah, and the thing is, Travis explained it like 4 times. So that's why he was getting frustrated.
Oh, when you didn't believe that I was rolling the wound rolls.
Or something.
No. In my head, I'm like, well, what about the guy? What about this guy? So in my head, I'm thinking there's another guy that one of my guys needs to die or needs to be rolled in there.
Gotcha.
The whole time I'm trying to argue for more of my guys to be dead. But that's just because
I rolled all 1s, 2s, and 3s for the wound roll, so nothing happened.
Yeah. I know I wish I would have played his version of the army because that seemed a lot more fun with
it was a
bunch of cool
I think
toys.
I made a great list, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
It functioned very well. I didn't take any of the horse bowmen, which I was sad about, but I needed those extra points for the
Colossus.
half bow, the Colossus, which I didn't really get to see what it would have done, but the Colossus is cool. When it charges, it keeps rolling more dice for every wound it causes, and so it could really kind of just tear through a unit of infantry.
Yeah.
The Scorpions did great work for me, and I think where I shined the most was just in my my maneuvering. I baited Blake out because Blake wasn't sitting on a lot of shooting, so I knew he'd have to come to me.
Yeah.
And I was I made one sacrificial charge with the weak horsemen into his Chaos Knights and my chariots, just to kind of like keep them occupied. And I kind of did, but those Chaos Knights were brutal. They just ran through both those units and tore them apart.
So that's nice in the game.
Yeah, they really are. They're 2-up armor. They hit hard. They're high toughness. It's brutal. It's very brutal.
You want to know what the best cavalry in the game is?
Yes.
Dragon ogres for Warriors of Chaos.
Oh,
apparently, they really stick it in people.
Yeah,
I heard that. I heard about that, dude. But yeah, I stayed kind of in the center of the board, and then finally, lurched out at a few things. Was able to take out your chariot with or at least broke him. I broke that guy's chariot with a sorcerer. Was able to kill that demon prince with a scorpion.
Well,
with a lucky 6.
Technically,
no, we
just
did.
cut his.
Technically, it didn't happen because the wind picked up and we canceled. However, however,
we resolved the combat.
However,
inside, okay,
in the abstract mathematical world of imagination,
when you rolled the dice,
we rolled. I mean, we did exactly what we were going to do at the table. We just said, "Hey, let's protect the models first," because I did actually destroy one of Ed's centerpiece models.
Yeah,
I ran my hand right through the dragon, and it knocked the skeleton and his magic phoenix bird right off. I felt really bad. It was it was a dark moment.
But for reals,
dark
though,
moment for me.
When I was, I shouldn't be having my demon prince go over there and play with those scorpions.
No,
but I was trying to loop around to dump that fireball ring on your dragon. And once
that could have been.
And once that failed, I should have just.
You should have.
I just made him go someplace else.
Yeah. You should have just gone center of the board and bolstered his troops there.
But I had to try to get that fireball.
You did you had a couple tricks up your sleeve, and they kind of just.
But they could have been real bad.
Oh, it could have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't love having the leader of the army on the dragon, and I'm able to not do that in the vampire counts, but I was having a hard time figuring out how to not do that in the Tomb Kings. Basically, I mean, obviously you could just not put it on a dragon, but I'm just trying to see if there's something else you could put on the dragon that's not the leader of your army.
It has to be Lord.
The Tomb King.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think having your Hierophant, your Tomb Priest, or your Tomb whatever, having him on a dragon, a behemoth, makes him more survivable.
And it does give him that 18-inch
command range.
Arise range, which is pretty
and
good.
that his bubble spell for rerolling ones. So I think there's a reason why you would take him on there. You just have to be careful about who you're going to fight with.
Yeah.
Don't fight a unit of 20 Longbeards in a Dwarven King. That would be good.
Yeah. That, I mean, you should try and avoid. You know, I mean, like that's the kind of unit that you send zombies into, and you just
keep them occupied.
What's the word? Tar pit them.
Yeah.
You just tar pit them.
So, question.
Yeah.
When you get declared charged, you could stand and shoot.
Some people can, yeah. Breath weapon, no.
Breath weapons don't.
Artillery, no.
Yeah.
But it's basically bows, crossbows, or guns. Like any kind of like infantry that has guns. Okay. Stand and shoot. Pretty good. It could be pretty good.
Could be pretty good.
Pretty good.
All right. Next question. I'll answer it first. Would you play that army again, the Tomb Kings again? And my answer is yes, I would, because they're mine. Travis?
I think my answer is no, but I really want to play against it with my vampire counts, because I think that would be a really interesting matchup.
Nice.
But I feel like it's like I experienced the army. I think it's cool. I think it's beautiful. I want to play against it. I don't necessarily want to play it.
Yeah.
Again.
Nice.
No.
Wow.
But then again, I mean, I can see why. Okay, if money was no object, like I think you could make an awesome list, a bunch of chariots, a bunch of horse archers.
Yeah.
And like I can see, but that's a huge undertaking that I'm not going to commit to. So no. But using it, let me get to see artillery and cannons and stone throwers, and that sure is fun. So I think maybe an Empire army might be really, really awesome.
Oh, wow.
Hills with big cannons everywhere. Maybe I need to get that from, I don't know who has it or where you can buy it. But there is that Chaos Warriors Hell Cannon.
Oh, yeah. Hell Cannon, yeah. It's a cannon made in hell.
From hell.
All right, that was a quick one. Number 4. Question number 4. If you could pick up a new to you Warhammer Fantasy Army, and it's already built, it's already painted, so you get to pick up the list you want to pick up, what army would it be?
That's easy for me.
And why, Travis?
What else? It was actually the first fantasy army that I started back in 1992. I had a unit of bowmen. I had a unit of war dancers. I had 2 treemen. It wasn't a very big army, but I really loved it. And it's one of those things that, like, I sold it along with like my second edition Blood Angels that I had that came with the starter box to start my Tyranid army, back in the day. And I regret it. I really wish I held on to those models.
Well, they're releasing
What
those.
else?
They're releasing those animal packs,
Yeah, dude, they're releasing animal packs,
like
Travis.
the bear and the wolves and
the beast. I had a unit of the beastmen. What do they call them? They don't call them beastmen.
He's not a beastman. He's the Beastmaster.
Beastmasters,
like the movie.
Yeah, I had a unit of Beastmasters. They were awesome.
I'm of two minds.
Okay.
One would be Beastman.
Oh.
Because
that army actually looks really cool.
I mean, I like chaos. I always been a fan of fantasy chaos.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if I'm not limited, I would want to have a pre-assembled, pre-painted marauder horde. Like no chaos warriors, all of the barbarians, like big chunky fat units of them. They're do the marauder cavalry, right? Like make a big barbarian horde.
That would look really cool on the table.
Yeah. Because I mean, I have plenty of chaos cavalry, I have plenty of chaos chariots and stuff, but there's a giant marauder horde would be fantastic. And I'd be able to use that list from the Arcane Journal for it.
Nice. I too well, the one army that I always wanted that I never got any models for, that always looked really cool to me, and it's not even, and that my hope is that they'll come out with it and I will buy it. And that is the Dogs of War army because they had some really cool units, like the Birdmen, who had like the Da Vinci wings that were fly around and shoot people. That's the army that I always wanted to get because it was just a bunch of mercenaries, which would be cool to have. I think
would be cool.
So that's my answer. Dogs of War. Dogs of War. Yeah.
The dogs. Them dogs.
Okay.
I can add something to my answer. Another reason I want all that Marauder stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's because I could run it with what I already have.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it's a double-edged thing.
You know what? I'll add to mine.
Yeah.
Because with the Dogs of War, I could run it with any army I have.
Really? Even
I think every army could
take Dogs of War back in the day.
Because they were mercenaries, just hired hands.
Yeah, you're right.
So I win. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Here's number 5.
How many do we got?
Dude, don't worry.
Okay. I just don't want to run out, but I want to get to them all.
Yeah. Yeah, so do I. Buddy. Number 5. When you are playing Warhammer, the old world, what army do you want to see across from you? Somebody comes up and they put an army in front of you and be like, here's who you're playing today. What army do you want to see?
I would say there is a level of seeing the Empire, because Empire and Chaos have always been like the bane of each other, right? Chaos in the old world, at the heart of the Empire is all this corruption, right? And Chaos is both the threat from inside and outside. So
That's true.
maybe and plus all that canon, the heraldry.
We've lived it. We've been living in the Empire, and then there was corruption from the inside, and we had to snuff it out.
Yeah.
And we had to chase people around the city.
Oh yeah.
And then run them down.
And then some of us
jump off the building.
Some of us would lose where the rest of the people were, so we just were like, all right, let's just go back to the inn. Hopefully Carl and whoever's with Carl can take them out, because couldn't catch them.
Someone had to go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the longest fight ever.
Yeah.
That was
And it was crazy, and we won.
Chaos in the old world.
That's right. So you say Empire.
Yeah, I think that's the grand narrative. That's basically the heresy.
Yeah.
I would say High Elves, because I don't think I've ever played against a High Elf army.
Interesting.
Like no one back in my old group ever ran High Elves. And I think they're a really cool looking army and an iconic one. So yeah, I would love to see a high elf, a nicely painted high elf army sitting across from me.
Nice. I would have to say, depending on what army I'm playing, it's kind of different. I would probably pick maybe Empire as well, because that's mankind, you know what I mean?
A nicely painted Empire army looks fantastic with all those puffy pants, man.
What about an orc army though?
Well, yeah, orc armies are great.
But you did play an orc army. Tom's orcs.
I have Tom's orcs army is fantastic, and I enjoy playing against it many times.
Yeah.
My first fantasy army was orcs.
Wow.
Harboth's orc archers.
Nice. And then you just said, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, no, I just bought one unit of orcs. And then I discovered the chaos.
Oh. And you said, I don't want to do this anymore.
F this.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's more questions. And I feel like we could just continue this in life after. The thing I discussed earlier, we could save it for the next time.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I still think we should do it on the life after.
Yeah.
The bit. I think it'll be a good bit. And if people hate it, well, then sorry.
Sorry, you paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you paid for it.
No returns.
No returns. All right. So, I don't remember what question this is. So we're going to move into 40K.
Whoa, that just took a huge spin for me.
I'm sorry.
And here's the deal. Now all the people who want to be patrons to listen to this this was the teaser. Now we're going to pivot to 40K, and then you play the end music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done and
we're
done.
Here.
We're here now.
That's how we do it.
So there's just a couple more questions, and then we'll just talk about something else. There. Okay. So this is. I've already asked this question, but if you could pick a new 40K army, it's already built, like unless you want to build a painting. But what army would that be?